Welcome in. I'm Steve Palazzolo from Pro Football Focus, here with your PFF Draft Board Update. It's your mid-October edition. Of course, it's all brought to you by Eckrich, the official smoked sausage of the college football playoff. And if you guys are watching right now, check out these games. You guys can still sign up for Eckrich's $1 Million Challenge. They're coming to a city near you, but they're also opening it up to everyone for the National Championship $1 Million Challenge. It's over at EckrichFootball.com. Get there today to sign up. All right, it's all about the draft board today. It's your mid-October update after 8 weeks of action. We did one in September, but we've got a little bit more information now. So let's start with the quarterbacks. Even though there's not a ton of quarterback-needy teams in the NFL, obviously always the most important position. There are 3 quarterbacks currently sitting in our top 32, the same quarterbacks that we had previously. But we've switched the order around a little bit. Let's start with Justin Herbert, sitting at number 2 on the overall draft board, a 90.3 PFF grade. That's number 4 in the nation, number 3 in Power 5 competition. But the thing about Herbert, heavy rumors that he's actually going to stay at Oregon. But right now, looks like he's got a bit of a lead on some of the other quarterbacks right now because of his size, arm strength, and accuracy. Decision-making, Herbert has been outstanding. And he's been good in tough games as well. He's played fairly well against Washington and against Stanford, continues to prove himself. So keep an eye on Herbert, but he might not be coming out. And if he doesn't, there's a bit of a drop-off at the quarterback position. The next 2 guys that we have, Dwayne Haskins sitting there at number 23, and then Will Grier at 25. We flipped these guys for now. Dwayne Haskins has played pretty well this season, 80.9 PFF grade. Not as well as the stats would indicate. He's had some help from his playmakers, and he's really struggled on the road. Only had 2 real road games at Penn State last week against Purdue, and those 2 games by far his worst outings of the season, missing some throws, some turnover-worthy throws. I know he's put up some big passing stats, but forced too many passes into coverage that he's gotten away with in those games. So that's what we want to see from Haskins. There's a bit of projection here because he is such a good, polished passer. Need to see a little bit better work under pressure and on the road. And then when we look at Will Grier, he drops a little bit after really struggling these last couple weeks. A 60.9 grade, a 50.7 grade. That's not great as he's gotten into some Big 12 action. So we still want to see a little bit more from Will Grier. We love what he does throwing the ball down the field at the intermediate level. Just been a tick slow with his decision making in recent weeks and a few more turnover-worthy plays than we're expected to see. So there's still a lot more football to be played. That's where we stand with the quarterbacks for now. Now let's get into the defense, because this draft is going to be all about the trenches and defensive linemen, interior, edge. It's loaded, and we see a bunch of them in the top 10. There are cornerbacks, too, sitting at the top. So let's get to it. DeAndre Baker and Greedy Williams, they're number 3 and 4, respectively, on the draft board coming out of the SEC. DeAndre Baker still sitting there as our number 1 graded corner in the nation right now. Greedy Williams not performing at as high of a level as Baker from a pure production standpoint, but his length and man coverage skills will be coveted at the next level. Now, Alabama comes in with 2 guys at 5 and 6 overall. Again, defensive players, breakout stars. Quinnen Williams, our number 1 graded defensive player in the entire country this year from a pure production standpoint. And then Deontay Thompson at safety. Thompson has the number 1 coverage grade in the nation, 2 interceptions, 5 pass breakups, couple forced fumbles. He's shown that he can win all over the field. Beyond that, more defensive linemen. Jeffrey Simmons coming in at number 7. Ed Oliver coming in at number 8. Both of these guys showing that they can play the run and rush the passer. And then a new name that we have to highlight, it's Brian Burns from Florida State. He's going to move all the way up to number 14. He's made a great progression from projection to productive edge defender. 46 pressures, and he's moved up on our board because he's not just long and explosive, he's also productive this year. So he's been one of the best pass rushers in the entire country, and we've moved him up the draft board to reflect that. Before we get into the receivers, here's a quick word from our sponsor.
So if this guy runs a post and this guy runs a wheel route, that's a touchdown, right?
Could be, but if I send this middle linebacker on a blitz, he's going to get your quarterback before he can get that ball off.
Not if I leave my running back in to blow your linebacker up.
But I still have this safety back here. If he doesn't bite on that post, you don't have a play.
Not anymore.
Eckrich. Get Saturday done right.
Dude, it's a flag.
Now over to wide receiver. I think this is one of those positions where there's a bunch of guys sitting in the first round, but I could see a lot of these guys falling to the second round once we get to the draft. But there's a lot of different style players to sort through. For now, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside sitting there at number 11. He's our top wide receiver on the draft board. We see him every week making big-time catches in tight windows, great body control, and a pretty nifty route runner as well. So Arcega-Whiteside, he's a big-bodied receiver. Staying in the Pac-12, N'Keal Harry, another big-bodied receiver. He's sitting there at 13. Both similar skill sets. Still, I want to see a little bit more athleticism from both of these guys. We'll see what they look like from a testing standpoint, but those guys can make those tight window catches. Number 16 on the entire draft board is A.J. Brown out of Ole Miss. He does most of his work out of the slot. We still want to see a little bit more from him. He was our number 1 coming into the season, but we have enough question marks plus some other guys elevating their game that he's dropped off just a little bit, and also dropping off Marquise Brown from Oklahoma. Different style than these other guys, more of a pure speed guy. Want to see how he handles press coverage at the next level. And then the last wide receiver on the board is Anthony Johnson sitting there at number 24, big-bodied receiver for Buffalo. So there's a lot of different style receivers. I think by the time the final draft board comes out, this one can go any which way. Now, it's time for some new names, guys that have started to really break out this season, put themselves on the radar for draft consideration. Coming in at number 17 on the draft board, his debut, it's Byron Murphy from Washington at corner. Really good movement skills. Want to see him produce in the second half of the season, but we've got a couple years of really good production out of him. He looks like he has all the tools to be a great corner at the next level. Coming in at number 20 and 21, 2 edge defenders from the SEC, starting with Josh Allen from Kentucky. You'll see us talking about Josh Allen on all of our videos here on the YouTube channel, but Allen has been unbelievable as a pass rusher and against the run. 92.6 pass rush grade leads the nation. 84.9 against the run is 12th. But he's also a guy that can cover. He's been great in coverage this year. 78.7 grade with 3 pass breakups. He actually has that off-the-ball linebacker coverage ability for the next level. So he's not just a pure 3-4 outside linebacker type of player. Josh Allen brings 3-down versatility. That's why he has cracked our top 32. And then I mentioned Ja'Kai Polite, a breakout season for him at Florida, rushing the passer. Want to see a little bit more of a sample size, but for now, we're seeing all of the explosiveness and the production that excites us for his ability to progress at the next level. Another key new name, Devin White from LSU, a guy that we weren't in love with before the season because he's just so athletic in a straight line, but not necessarily laterally. But he's been excellent against the run, making plays in coverage and as a pass rusher. Again, blowing up plays the other night against Mississippi State. Devin White has all of the tools to continue to progress, but watch that PFF grade. That's going to determine where he ends up on our draft board because we want to see that production and athleticism really match up. But for now, we put him at number 22 on the board. And then finally, speaking of linebackers, Tavon Coney from Notre Dame. He cracks the top 32 at number 28, a guy who was an excellent run stopper a year ago. He's improved his work in coverage. He's a little bit bigger than Devin White, a guy at 240 pounds who shouldn't move as well as he does, but he's been excellent in coverage this year, and that's the most important aspect of linebacker play. If he keeps that up, he has a chance to maybe sneak into our top 32 by the time the final board comes out. But right now, sitting at number 28 as one of our biggest movers this week. So there you have it. It's the PFF draft board. It's our mid-October update. Still tons of football to be played. Check out the entire top 32 at profootballfocus.com or, of course, on the bottom line right below. And don't forget, get to EckridgeFootball.com. Check out this list of games. You can still sign up for the $1 Million Challenge when it comes to your town or for the National Championship $1 Million Challenge. It's open to everybody right now over at EckridgeFootball.com.